For SB Nation and for Stampede Blue, I'm Brad Wells, and training camp for the Indianapolis Colts in 2013 is coming to a close, and there are three key storylines that we're looking at as we get into the second and third preseason games for the Colts in 2013. The first storyline is the play of the offensive line. And in training camp, it's really hard to evaluate how good or how bad an offensive line or offensive linemen are. A lot of positional drills, a lot of one-on-one work, a lot of one offensive lineman against a defensive lineman, and basically in those types of situations, from our observations, from our writers at camp, the defensive players have fared better than the offensive linemen. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because someone like Robert Mathis is extremely good, and someone like Anthony Costanzo is a pretty decent player, but he's not going to be able to control or contain Robert Mathis on almost every drill. But just in general, the defensive players have looked better than the offensive linemen. The offensive line has also had to contend with lots of injuries. In particular, Hugh Thornton, the third-round draft pick of the Colts in 2013, he missed all of training camp with a foot injury that he sustained during minicamp in June. And Khalid Holmes, the offensive center, early in camp, he re-injured the ankle that he hurt at USC last year. And these two injuries are significant because Holmes and Thornton were drafted in many ways to supplant and replace veterans Samson Sattelli at center and right guard Mike McGlynn. So because they haven't been able to play, both Sattelli and McGlynn have had to play, and that might not be a good thing because Sattelli and McGlynn last year were not very good, in particular in pass protection, and that's the sole reason why the Colts went out and made all these changes to their offensive line. Andrew Luck got sacked and hit way too many times last year. They want to avoid that this year. So it's very important for Hugh Thornton and for Khalid Holmes to get healthy and to start getting more reps, hopefully as preseason goes into the regular season. The other major storyline is the play of Bjorn Werner. Now, Werner was the first-round pick for the Colts in 2013, and very early in camp, he looked fantastic. A lot of national media types attended camp early, and they raved about how good he looked. We thought he looked really good as well. And then he sustained a knee injury around the midpoint of camp, and since then, Bjorn Werner has not looked very good. He did not play in the preseason opener against the Buffalo Bills, and we just don't think that he's getting off the snap all that well. And as a result, offensive linemen are being able to control him much better. And this is very important because Bjorn Werner was drafted almost specifically to replace Dwight Freeney. Dwight Freeney was not offered a new contract when his old contract expired last year. And Freeney recently told SI.com's Jim Trotter that he was hurt by that the Colts didn't offer him anything. He went on to eventually sign with the San Diego Chargers. And reports out of Charger camp is that Freeney looks very good playing in their 3-4 defense, which just so happens to be coached by Chuck Pagano's younger brother, John Pagano. So that's very interesting. Hopefully Werner can play better, and hopefully Dwight Freeney has a great career in San Diego. But if Freeney does well and Werner struggles, that's not going to look very good for the Colts front office and the coaching staff. The final storyline that we wanted to focus on is the play of Darius Haywood-Bay. Darius Haywood-Bay was signed as a free agent this offseason, one-year deal. He's essentially making $1.5 million playing for the Colts this year. And in training camp, he has not looked good at all. He didn't look good in preseason, the first preseason game either. Lots of drops, lots of inconsistent play. And the drops are really what he was known for in Oakland as well. So he has not been able to escape that. You kind of would want him to be more consistent. And the thought was, well, maybe Darius Haywood-Bay didn't really have an effective quarterback in Oakland. And when he comes to Indianapolis, he'll have a better quarterback and he'll play better. That hasn't been the case. The ball's been put right into his hands, whether it's Andrew Luck or Matt Hasselbeck, and he's still dropping the ball, which is unacceptable. In many ways, practically in all ways, second-year wide receiver T.Y. Hilton has completely outplayed Darius Haywood-Bay, both in camp and in preseason. Yet, unofficially, Darius Haywood-Bay is still starting over T.Y. Hilton. Why is that, you might ask? Money. Darius Haywood-Bay is making $1.5 million this year. T.Y. Hilton is making $485,000 this year. T.Y. Hilton can also play on special teams, and Darius Haywood-Bay really has no value to any team unless he's starting for them. He's not a slot receiver, and he doesn't play special teams. So, yeah, that's why he's starting. It's not good. Hopefully he can get better, but T.Y. Hilton is a better option and probably should be starting over Haywood-Bay. So those are our three storylines as training camp closes. Want to know what you think? Subscribe above, comment below. This is SB Nation.